2 years ago, I downloaded a dating app. Look, if you hear background noise, I'm sorry, I have to do laundry. So 2 years ago, I downloaded a dating app, probably Hinge, and I matched with a guy named Greg. Greg was cute. I liked his pictures, I liked his biceps, I like his face. But I especially liked, you know, on those little prompts, he mentioned rollerblading. And I was just getting into rollerblading, so I was like, and I got excited. I replied to him, I love rollerblading, or something along those lines. Anyway, we end up going on a date, we go get lunch, and we hit it off. Greg is just very easy to talk to. And then afterwards, he's like, I've always wanted to go to this farmer's market nearby. Do you want to go? And I was like, I love a farmer's market. I would love to go. So we go, and it's like July or June or something. It's just really hot and muggy. And as we're walking through this farmer's market, I remember him putting his hand on the back of my sweaty, disgusting neck. The whole time he had his hand on the back of my neck, and it made me feel safe. It did. And I remember looking up at him, and he was like, because he's like 10 feet tall, and he just looked so happy. He looked really happy. And every time we'd walk by a stand, he'd be like, oh, does your mom like guava? Can I get you some guava? And before I could even answer, he's like picking up the guava, he's squeezing the guava, putting it in the bag, paying for it. Anything, avocados. He ended up buying me the best papaya I've probably ever had. He bought me everything, just like bags and bags of things. I remember walking by this raw cat food stand, and he was like, oh, do you think your cats would like it? Let me get you some. And I had to stop him because I felt, I don't know, he had bought me so much already. I felt embarrassed. I guess I thought I didn't deserve it. I don't know. I think my cats would have enjoyed it, but whatever. So that concluded our first date, and it was a good one. Very soon after our second date, we go rollerblading, and it was great. And then we go get food. And then I think this place where we went to go get food, they had very small cups. Either they have very small cups, or Greg has really big hands. But look, and I've matured, okay? That was 2 years ago. Remember in the beginning of the video, I said it was 2 years ago? That was 2 years ago. Okay, but I didn't like the way he held cups. Okay, I'm gonna try and show you. And I feel like this is more to scale because I actually have really small hands. So if I hold a cup, you won't understand. Like if I hold a regular cup, you won't understand. So I'm gonna hold this. I would hold a cup like this. I feel like Greg held cups like, I don't know, it looked stupid. The cup looked stupid in his hands, but in retrospect, I think he just had really big hands. But I don't know, he looked like a caveman holding a cup. Like, it just didn't look right. And I was just like, oh, I don't like the way he's holding that cup. And he'd just be talking, and I'd be like, ugh, I need to get out of here. Really, girl, I was looking for red flags when there really weren't any. And I'm sure, like, no one's perfect. But I was scanning, I was reaching. I was reaching for something because I wasn't ready for a guy like Greg. Greg was very open, and he showed signs of a provider, okay? He wanted to buy me the entire farmer's market. And I remember when we were rollerblading, he was like, I need to buy you a helmet, and just he wanted to provide for me. And I guess I was like, I don't like the way you hold cups, you know, like insane. And so I think that the day after the cup incident, Cupgate, after Cupgate, I believe I was rollerblading, and he ends up FaceTiming me from the gym. He was like, oh, I was thinking about you and I wanted to FaceTime you. I told my sister this and she thought it was absolutely insane. She's like, that's crazy. And I think it's charming. If someone wants to FaceTime me, I'm charmed, but that's just me. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm at the gym. And he ends up showing me his gym through FaceTime. And I just remember just floor to ceiling glass windows, and there was this river view. It was really nice, and you know, just a lot of greenery and boats. And I remember the kettlebells. I remember how they were positioned. I could see it in my mind right now. And he was like, yeah, I just really love this gym. It's so empty all the time. It's really clean. And yeah, we just FaceTimed, but I still had the stupid cup thing in my head, and I was just like, I don't think he's the right guy. And so later that same day, I end up calling him, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I just don't feel like I'm ready to date right now. And he was so confused. He was scanning for anything, like, is it because I FaceTimed you? Like, what did I do? I wasn't giving him like a clear answer. Ugh, and you guys, this is yucky. This is just gross. But I didn't know if it was true or not at the time, but I think it was the truth. I said, I don't think I'm over my ex. Ugh, so embarrassing. It's embarrassing to even say right now. And that confused him even more. He was like, didn't you guys break up like a year ago? And I was like, yeah. Embarrassing. And so we end up not speaking ever again. And then I get out of my car and I'm at a park, so I go rollerblading again. And I locked my keys in my car. Anyway, the guy that ends up helping me, because I called AAA, the guy that ends up helping me open my car, his name is Greg. And then he asked for my number, and I'm like, Greg, no, I already broke it off with one Greg. I can't get with another Greg. And he's like, yeah, but I'm better. Anyway, Greg number 2 is not a part of the story. Greg, let's call him Boston Greg, because Boston Greg, he had a really strong Boston accent. The guy that I rejected, he had a really strong, very charming Boston accent, so we're gonna call him Boston Greg. So I said no to Greg number 2, and I just decided I'm never speaking to Boston Greg again. And then a few months later, my phone gets stolen at a music festival, so I lose all my contacts. And now it's 2 years later, you guys, and I regret what I did, because I feel like Boston Greg had the makings of someone that I would actually want to be with. He was great, and I don't think I was not ready. I was not ready to be with someone who really liked me and seemed like he wanted to take care of me, from just things that he would say and obviously do. And so I decided to re-download Hinge, where I found him. And on my profile, all I put on all the prompts was, I'm looking for a guy named Greg. I'll be interested in you if your name is Greg. Like, I was just talking about Greg. And I didn't last, like, I think I lasted like 3 hours, and then I downloaded it because dating apps are gross. We know this. And so that didn't work. And I was like, huh, what do I do? How do I find Boston Greg? And then I remembered his gym. I remembered his gym. I remember how it looked like. I remember the river views. And so I get on my little phone and I Google the city where he lives in, gym with river views. And a gym comes up with the floor to ceiling glass windows of the river with the boats and the greenery, and I see the kettlebells and I see his gym. It's his gym. And so here's what I'm thinking. I am going to get cute. I'm gonna get dressed. I'm gonna put on a little dress and I'm gonna walk on over to his gym. I'm gonna speak to the owner of the gym. And I'm gonna be like, hi, 2 years ago I wanted a date with, I'm gonna tell him my whole life story. I'm gonna show him this video. No, I'm gonna say that I wanted a date with a guy named Greg 2 years ago. He's like 6'2", Boston accent. Is he still a member of this gym? Maybe I don't ask if he's still a member, but maybe I leave a little note. Maybe I leave him a note and I could just be like, if Boston Greg is still a member at this gym, you don't need to tell me, but would it be okay if I leave a note for him? And on this note, I could write, hi Greg. It's Wendy from 2 years ago. I'm really sorry about how I ended things, and if you are still interested, here's my number, give me a call. I would love to talk to you. I woke up this morning and the night before, last night, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm gonna put on a dress and I'm going to his gym. And then this morning I woke up and I chickened out. I did. But I'm gonna do it because why not? Maybe he doesn't even live here in South Florida. I hope he does, but maybe he doesn't. But I think it's worth a try. And honestly, I think if this works out, it's kind of romantic. Like, that's cute. That's cute that I went and that's not creepy, right? That's not creepy. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I just have a neuroanatomy final to take probably today or tomorrow, and then I'm gonna leave my number. And you know, he might be engaged to a Colombian orthodontist, or he might still be available and willing to see me again and accept my apology. Look, you would think that at 32, at the time I was 32, and you'd think that you'd be a little more emotionally just mature, and I wasn't. But now I think I'm there. I think I'm getting there. Greg, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, and call me. Okay, bye.